Because, like, why is there, and this goes for, like, all the topics that we're talking about today, why is there, like, this lack of empathy and, like, mean girl energy? It's an epidemic.
Hi everyone, welcome to LoveCast, the BL podcast. I'm your host Alexa, and with me today I have my fellow hosts Pixie and Kayla.
Hey.
Woohoo. So today we are doing a catching up with the BL Fandom episode. We have I specifically have some things in recent BL Fandom that have been really frustrating to say the least. So I really wanted to do like a current events episode so that we could kind of talk through some of the fandom implications of these situations. I know Kayla also has some stuff that has been pissing them off, so it might be a bit of a what's the word? I had a word and
A
I just
rant?
lost it. Ranting, very enthusiastic about our feelings. Passionate. There we go.
Passionate.
We're gonna try and be as rational as possible, but I think we all have some feelings about the things we'll be discussing, and they are probably things that, if you weren't already aware of what was going down, they might piss you off a little bit. So just prepare yourselves in advance.
If it's not a good time to get angry, then just wait to listen.
Maybe this will be an excuse to help you let out your anger that you've been feeling, that's been bottling up.
Right.
It's a good time to start working out.
Yeah. Just vent your emotions. That's what I'm going to be doing. Okay. Yes. So I have two topics. I know Kayla has at least one. I guess
I'm just here for the rage, so.
I guess I can just start with my first one, and then maybe we can go to Kayla and then circle back to my second one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first one that I had, and both of these things at this point have happened a couple of weeks ago at the time of recording. By the time this episode comes out, it will have been like a month ago, but it's fine. I feel like they're topics that, like, the general discussion around them is relevant all the time. So even if you've probably heard about the situation already, hopefully, we can spark some conversation around it. But the first one I had is coming from the Dundi showcase that happened on February 20th. And it specifically has to do with Por and TeeTee, who are two actors under Dundi. If you're not familiar with the names, they were Lee and Glai in Your Sky, if you watch that. And then they announced at the Dundi showcase that they're going to have like their own series called Duong. I'm probably pronouncing that name wrong, but I think it's Duong with You is what the show is called. But the thing I wanted to talk about is at that showcase, when they were on the stage, like talking about their series, they always have the actors come out and talk about the series. And with Dundi, they had them like, ask for sponsors and things like that. But Por and TeeTee at that showcase kind of took that as an opportunity to, since they were officially getting their own show, their own lead series, address like their ship name is what you want to call it, their ship dynamic that they use. So up until that point, I will admit, like, I wasn't following Por and TeeTee super closely before Your Sky, so I wasn't super into like what their fans talked about them. I didn't follow them super closely before they were in Your Sky. But from like what I had seen up until that point, they were one of those ships where it was always like, oh, is it Por TeeTee or is it TeeTee Por? Right. Like they would have those moments where like someone would do something and they would be like, oh, this is giving such TeeTee Por energy, as opposed to like something else would be giving Por TeeTee energy. And like for me as an outsider, it always seemed like, it was something that the actors, the boys, like kind of took in good faith. They kind of played into the back and forth dynamic with the fans, and it seemed like the fans were kind of enjoying being like, ooh, is it Por TeeTee or is it TeeTee Por? Like they were having fun with that whole, it can go either way, or is it either way type of dynamic. And that's how I was like viewing it as an outsider. So maybe has always been infighting in the fandom that I just wasn't aware of.
Mhm.
But at the showcase, Por and TeeTee kind of took that as a moment to basically say that they were going to be using both ship names. So they weren't going to
Mhm.
choose like a basically they weren't going to play
Mhm.
into like an official top and bottom dynamic, if you want to put it that
Right.
way. So they
Mhm.
basically said like for the Thai fans they would be using the Por TeeTee ship dynamic, and then
Mhm.
the Inter fans would use TeeTee Por, and they've been like
Mm.
tagging all of their posts and everything with both of them since then. And I
Mhm.
was like, okay, that's cool. Like they're kind of like
Fine.
saying like we're gonna switch, we're gonna do it either way, we're gonna
Mm.
go with the
Mm.
flow type of thing. And then the day after the showcase, they had both posted these long apologies on Twitter, basically apologizing to their fans for kind of bombarding them with this information almost. They were kind of like, we're sorry. I'm paraphrasing both of their messages, which someone had translated on Twitter, but they're basically like, we're sorry you kind of announced this unexpectedly. Don't blame the company because this is something me, like Por and TeeTee, like the two of us decided together, and like we're sorry that we disappointed you guys and like deciding to do this. And they were basically like saying like, what matters at the end of the day is like it's Por and TeeTee, no matter which way the ship goes, like it's the two of us together. But I was flabbergasted. Like I
Mhm.
What even? Of
yeah,
all the non things to become a thing,
yeah,
what?
Right.
yeah.
Mhm.
And I didn't see the clips of this myself, but like the translations were saying that like TeeTee even like was crying because he was feeling bad that like the people around them were getting backlash because they had made this decision and they were seeing such negative reactions to it. And I guess like the fans felt like in choosing both, like they had no ship dynamic to lean into, which I think is stupid
That is
because
stupid. Yeah.
they basically said like we did this because we don't want anyone to feel left out. Like we just want to embrace
Right.
everything that the fans have been enjoying. But I guess the fans at the end of the
I
day
mean,
feel like
it's
things
not
still need to go a certain way. I don't know.
it's not uncommon for shipping pairs to joke around with that kind
Right.
of dynamic. I mean, like Boone and Prem, their fans joke around with Prem Boone all the time, and
Mhm.
like when they're on
Mhm.
stage, and they have fun with it, honestly.
Mhm.
Um, and I just like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Truly. Mhm.
I don't
Mhm.
know what else to say. It doesn't matter.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really interesting because it seems like usually like the fans are the ones that have fun with being like, if they catch a moment where they're like, oh, like I know it's a thing with Thomas and Kong
Mhm.
too. They'll be like, oh, this is Kong Thomas, and like usually the actors are ones who are like, no, like it's this way, like it's this ship name. So it's
Mhm.
interesting to see like the actors being like, we're fine with whatever. And then
Right.
when that happens, the fans are like, actually, no, you need to choose one or the other. Like it's just so weird. And it always comes back into like presumed relationship dynamics based
Right.
on looks at the end of the day
I
more
mean,
than anything.
Mhm.
this is really problematic in the sense that you are trying to put like heteronormative relationships
Mm-hmm.
into the gay
Mm-hmm.
sphere, the queer
Mm-hmm.
sphere, and putting stamps on relationship and trying to make them heteronormative. And dude, that's not how gay relationships work. Like
No, half the time it's
if
not
you
how
want to
any
sell
relationships work at the end of
if
the
you want to
day.
sell
Like,
a relationship,
Mhm.
if you want to sell a ship as real, most likely like verse is more common than anything else. And
mm,
it's a possibility. Like we don't know and we shouldn't know. That's the biggest thing.
Right.
Like, dude, let them be. But
yeah.
yeah. I mean, the
Yeah.
parasocial relationships thing here is just
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm the only one who feels this way, but I also think it's creepy given how young they are. That's
right.
just me.
Mhm.
How
I
old
Yeah.
think
are
it's
they?
really creepy. They're
Early
like
20s at most.
is one of them 19
Ugh.
and the other
I
one is
wouldn't
a
be
little bit
surprised.
older, like
I know
22?
I know TeeTee is younger
23?
because when I was reading through his like message, he was using like P poor for poor, but I'm not entirely sure what their ages are. I'm going to check right now.
Yeah. Another thing about like the
22.
lineup.
Sorry,
22.
go ahead.
Another thing about the lineup that, because I heard about this controversy and then I watched the lineup, so I kind of had like the, I guess, the hindsight watching it, but Por and TeeTee were very, very, very nervous to bring up this hashtag situation. And the director, Pete Kla, was on stage with them and he kept telling them, like, no, it's okay, speak your mind, it's okay, you can say it. And so they finally said it. So I think that they kind of knew that this is something that could bring a lot of backlash, which is sad. It was like they were genuinely afraid to even announce this.
And it sucks because they felt like they were doing something that would make all of their fans happy, only to like have people come back and be like, actually, you shouldn't have done this, which is just such a weird thing. But yeah, Poor is 22 and TeeTee is 20. So yeah, they are very, very, very young.
That is.
And yeah, it just it's interesting because like in their messages they were saying like, you know, we've discussed this whole position thing a lot with like the company and with the people at Dundi, and at the end of the day, like they were saying Dundi just wanted us to choose whatever was comfortable because like this is going to be a dynamic that's going to stick with us for the long run. So like, you know, them choosing to kind of embrace both, just like trying to do what is most comfortable for them and also for their fans, and to have it like come back and have their fans not be happy about it really sucks, especially because like you were saying, it seems they were really nervous about that being the decision they had made.
This is wild to me. Like, why is this? Why are people mad about this?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a side of like shipping culture that feels very foreign to me. I know it's something that is very normalized for some aspects of the fandom, but this whole like the need to have like a position clarified just for me as a viewer is like very, very, I've never really understood it, and I'm not gonna like harp on anyone who is, you know, into that and not weird about it, but it's just something that I've like I thought it was refreshing that they were like, we're gonna utilize both and we're just gonna go whatever way. Like it works either way. Like that feels very refreshing to me. But
it feels like they're embracing diversity kind of within the space, like growing the space to be something else than the normal set shipping culture that we have, which is where we need to we need to grow, or else it will go down a deep dark hole, like arguing whose name is going first. No.
Yeah,
based off of stereotypical traits and mannerisms.
That's exactly what it is. Part. It's all like stereotypes, and like, you know, there was a little bit of talk about it in our Discord, and like and people were saying like, I guess like the whole thing was because like in terms of behavior and mannerisms, like it seems like it would be Por TeeTee, but then people are like, it can't be Por TeeTee because Por is a little bit smaller than TeeTee, and like boiling it down to like these just such arbitrary like physical traits and personality indicators is just like, so I don't know, it's never made sense to me.
My question up in all of this that I would really love to ask someone that's on this side of being mad about this is, why do you need that clarification? What are you envisioning when you like you need one of them to be like the top or whatever? What does that actually mean to you? Are you fantasizing about stuff?
It's about like feeding into the fantasy.
What is like, I mean, even if that's what fan fiction is for, right? You basically take a situation and you flip it around. People gender bend, like there's a lot of stuff happening on AO3. So if you need that sort of like fantasy, utilize fan fiction. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't understand why we need to push it on people.
Yeah, that's at the end of the day,
Real
like these are
people.
real people.
Right.
And like Por and TeeTee were saying in their tweets, I'm like, shouldn't at the end of the day it just be like about Por and TeeTee being a pairing together? Like, isn't that what you guys as their fans want to focus on at the end of the day, as opposed to
Yeah.
who comes first in the
Yeah.
ship name? Like, I don't know. It
Right.
just seems like such a weird thing to care about for people who are supposed to be fans of these actors in this pairing. But I don't know. It just really feels weird to me to like bully someone to the point of tears and harass actors to the point of tears over ship names. And like when I heard that, I just couldn't fathom it.
I kind of feel like this is some like people are mad just because they need to be mad, and just like you get more attention online if you're mad, so you just get mad at
100%.
stuff that doesn't matter. Like that's what it feels like right now.
Yeah. And it feels like it's just because it's something that is out of the norm of expectations of a BL ship. Like, like, because like I said, if you really think about it, I think it's really a really interesting choice to make. But I don't really know any other BL ships that have like officially adopted using both ship names. So I think because it's like something that BL fans wouldn't expect, like that also like doing something different is like not is like looked down upon almost, it feels like doing something out of the norms of the BL ship expectations.
Yeah, and I mean the queer community is built around doing something out of the normal.
Right. Right.
So
Well, some people try to
honestly-
say that BL isn't LGBT and that it's like two completely separate things also.
I have feelings about that in my other topic that we have to discuss.
Oh God.
So yeah.
Oh,
But yeah, I don't know. I just found it like completely unfathomable. And I was like, now I feel so actively like I need to support everything Por and TeeTee do now, because that's just so ridiculous for their own fans to like attack them for something like that. So it just really pissed me off when I woke up the day after the showcase, like curious to see what people were saying about the reactions, and like that was the first thing I saw.
I mean, and if you're hating on the supposed ship that you ship, are you really a fan? Because dude, we don't treat people we like that way.
Yeah, you would think. I think it always comes back to that feeling of like entitlement that some fans have over the ships they support. So
I mean, you need to think about, like, even if you have a parasocial relationship to these actors or whatever, you need to think, okay, would I do this to my friends? If the answer is no, then don't.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything like follow up on it really. I haven't seen like if fans have kind of come around to it. I've seen like on their posts like they're like Por and TeeTee are continuing to use like both of the hashtags. So I'm glad that they're like sticking with it and being like, yeah, this is what we decided to do, so we're gonna do it. But I haven't seen like if the fans have had a change of heart at all. I hope for Por and TeeTee's sake that they do.
Yeah, the problem with if they change their behavior because of fans being mad is that the fans are going to get trained to knowing that, okay, if we complain, they're going to fix whatever we hate.
Yeah, 100%.
It's also just sad that this completely overshadowed the fact that they're getting their own series in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, who is actually talking about the series now? I feel like nobody.
Yeah.
It's like shooting yourself in the foot. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be watching now. They've got me. We just did an episode on engagement. I will go into those hashtags and use both of them just the way they want them to be.
Hashtag all the tweets with both of them.
Yeah.
Ooh, a thought. Do you ever think like BL ships or anyone like use tactics like that? They plant someone in the fan community to rage to create like the support, like they
Oh,
create
that'd
the
be
situation so that
that's
they'll get more
If they
support.
did, I don't think it would be the actors asking for that. I think the
Right.
company, I wouldn't put it past the company to do a shady tactic like that, but
Yeah. I mean, it's
hmm.
an not that I like be clear, not that I think that important TeeTee did that.
right,
I'm
right.
just I'm just saying
In
a
general,
hypothetical scenario that would be an interesting thought.
like using an anti to generate more support in the long run.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't put it past companies to
You
do
never know.
something like that.
Yeah. That literally that happens in War of Y. So,
Mm-hmm.
you never know.
So it's probably happened in real life because they've brought inspiration from.
Maybe.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, next rage bait topic. Not rage bait. Not rage bait. Next frustrating
Real
topic.
rage.
Real rage topic.
Unadulterated rage.
Mhm.
So, this is something I have ranted about before, but there was recently something that triggered me again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, I obviously watched the Dundi 2025 lineup. And after it happened, I went and I was looking at all of Dumundi's tweets about the shows. And tell me why I clicked on the quote tweets for Z and Nanu's musical Hug E Lee, and everyone in the fucking comments was
Mm.
like, "Hope James isn't in this. Good thing James isn't in this. Keep James away from this. Give me
Yeah.
a fucking break."
Mm-hmm.
Why is this man always catching strays? Like, I feel like I could be like in the comfort of my own home watching like Wicked, and some James hater would break into my house to tell me that James can't sing. Like, it's not relevant.
Mm,
Leave him out of this. Leave him alone.
mm,
Like, shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's like you saw the trailer. Everyone saw the trailer. He's not in it. You know
Yeah.
who's in the series, and most of
mhm,
them aren't even singers to begin with. But the
Mm-hmm.
fact is, no one ever gets this same treatment as James because no one else
mm,
broke up their ship.
Mm-hmm.
mm,
So it doesn't matter if they
Yeah.
have all these non-singers in the show. No one's going to comment on it like they do James when nothing even has anything to do with him. And it's not even the first time that I have been jump scared by random James hate comments, because tell me why. I was listening to the OST for Boy Next World and the fucking comments were like, James can't sing, James this, James that. Like, why was
Why is
James in
he
the
mentioned?
comments?
what
Like,
No.
is it because Noel defended him? Like, I don't get what James has to do with me listening to the OST for Boy Next World. And it's just like, it's almost like they are moving like AI bots who are trying to content
Mm,
farm hate. And
That's
I wouldn't be
exactly it.
surprised if they are. Like, it's
mhm,
crazy. And I am pressed. And I will
right.
Yeah.
stay pressed. Because, like, why is there, and this goes for like all the topics that we're talking about today, why is there like this lack of empathy and like mean girl
Mhm,
energy? It's an epidemic and it
yeah.
genuinely like takes people's lives, and I'm not having it. And it's so annoying. And
Mhm,
why
Mm-hmm.
does everyone always hate on James for no reason?
mhm,
And it's so frustrating, ridiculous, insane because he has been like very open about how much he has struggled because of the way fans have treated him and like how it's impacted
mhm,
his mental health. And people are very much aware of that, but it's once again like there's zero empathy because they don't view these people as real people. Like they
mhm,
just view him as someone they look at through a computer screen, and they don't take him or the things he's talking about or the concerns he's expressed about his mental
mhm,
health seriously. And it's really frustrating to see. I still see people using like the audio of that cover he did on like their TikToks, and every time I do, I like go in and be like, I what's the dislike the video or whatever, like it just like not interested button. I'm just like, it's so stupid. Just move on. And it was
Yeah.
never funny to begin with.
No.
But like letting it go on for months and months and months after the fact is even less funny. Like it was never funny to begin with, but now you just look like you can't find something else to talk about. Like you just have to harp on this one person because you don't have anything else better to do.
Yeah, I mean, if there's something you don't like, or a person you don't like, or a show you don't like, why are you talking about it? Like, move
Yeah.
on. Like, why are we focusing on things that we don't like? But it goes back to the whole thing that people need to rage bait. They need attention online, and the best way to get attention is to say mean shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mean girl effect. Totally. And it's like what happened with poor Neo when he put out the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, why are we bullying?
People have, and I've had this problem with fandom for a long time now, that people think being mean online makes them edgy and cool and sets them apart. And because people interact with those edgy tweets, like they feel the need, and people egg them on in the comments, they feel the need to continue to do it. But like, you look like a child. Like, I'm just gonna be putting, like, some of these people are probably 30 fucking years old like me and doing this shit. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I will say every time I see someone acting like that, I just assume they're 16 or younger.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not even
sadly,
kidding.
they're
I
not.
assume, like, I will, if you're acting like that online, I will assume you're 16 and younger, and your parents need to get you in check. But
yeah, it sucks. And it sucks because like I've seen other like creators in the community like do this stuff too and like make TikToks about it. And like it's just like,
yeah, I
you
can't
guys,
do
like,
that
I don't
shit.
know. It's just like, you know, it's like you expect it from like petty fans online, but like seeing other creators and stuff like that do it too. And like encouraging people in their comments and stuff is really upsetting. And so it just like, I don't know. There's, like Kayla said, there's no empathy. And it makes me really sad to see that like people encourage that and find that to be funny when it's never been funny.
Yeah, I refuse to engage with hate content. If I see someone just putting out just for hate, I will block that shit. I am not watching it. I am not engaging with it at all. That's why most of these things, like, I don't really have anything to talk about here because I'm just like, dude, I'm not part of that shit.
I'm not trying to be. I'm just, imagine I'm in my little Xena bubble. I'm like, yay, they have a musical. And then I look and everyone's bashing James. I'm like, what the hell? I wasn't even seeking this out.
Yeah, that said, you guys interact with fandom in a different way than I do online. So obviously you'll see things that,
oh, man. Like, people need to find community elsewhere because like building a community on just like hatred for things and just having like no regard for anyone just for the clout, like clout is literally an addiction.
On twitter.com no less. Like,
it's not sustainable to be building a community and like an alliance with other fans off of that because it's I don't know. I don't get it. I'm glad that I don't get it.
Mental health too, to go around hating people. Like,
being a hater feels so exhausting. Like, I just don't have the energy. Like, if I don't like a show, I stop watching it. If I don't care for someone's acting, I don't watch their projects. If I don't care for someone singing, I don't go click on their covers of them singing. Like, it's that simple to just not. If you claim that you dislike it so much, why do you continually seek it out? Like, it just feels exhausting to me to build, like you said, Kayla, a platform around being a mean person. Like, maybe, I don't know, maybe people are built different than I am, but... And it sucks because, like, I was super excited to see James in the trailer for Mr. Fanboy, and I'm, like, really excited to see him playing, like, the kind of, I don't know, like, I don't want to say evil, but like celebrity who's like playing the game and like playing the industry game. Like I'm really excited to see him in that role. And so once again, it feels like that this whole like people trying to make fun of him took away from seeing him in a new role. So it kind of sucks that once again, that seems like other people like fans are overshadowing things that should be exciting for the artist and that we should be excited about for the artist.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to do what you're doing with TeeTee and Por and support them even more. But I'm going to do it with James and this new series.
Yeah.
So frustrating.
It is really frustrating. Well,
onwards.
This one pissed me off too, the one that you're gonna
talk
about. Honestly, same.
This one, I have so many feelings about this.
Oh yeah. No.
Okay. So for the backstory before we get into the feelings, Copter on Valentine's Day, Copter, who was in was it 2 Moons 2 or were they in the original 2 Moons? It was 2 Moons 2,
the
right?
Original.
The original 2 Moons.
Yeah.
I always get them mixed up, the cast of those two mixed up. But Copter was in the original 2 Moons. They've kind of been in the Thai entertainment industry since then. I think they're transitioning more to like music and hosting work right now. But on Valentine's Day, they they soft launched their relationship. They posted a bunch of like faceless pictures of them with their partner, like doing romantic things together, them having their Valentine's Day date. And the one picture was a shot of their hands, of them holding hands, and the hand in the picture was a manicured hand. So the assumption was that they're dating a woman. And I've seen some people say that there was another like unedited or version of the picture where you could see like a feminine figure, but even I have feelings about making assumptions based on people's appearance that we will get into later. But the assumption was that Copter is dating a woman, and that they soft launched this relationship. Fast forward like a week, Copter posts this huge like message, this huge statement on Twitter, accompanied by a screenshot of 2 comments that they had gotten on their, I think it was their TikTok or their Instagram, something like that, basically accusing them of queer baiting because people assume that they are now in a relationship with a woman. And so Copter had released this huge statement, and I paraphrased. This is based on translation, so it might not be completely accurate, but I paraphrased some of like what they said in this initial message. And they're basically saying like initially they didn't want to say anything because they know they used to act in BL and be involved in the BL community. And like some people view BL as being negative to the queer community. But, you know, that kind of goes back to this whole like BL is queer media, whether people want to claim it under that term or not. But they also say over their years, they've always taken time to study and understand the community and share their thoughts on like being involved in the BL industry and things that happen in the BL industry. And then not to mention a few years back, they came out as non-binary. So they are part of the queer community. And then they were saying like, is it wrong for them to find someone who understands them and loves them and understands their identity, no matter if that person is a woman, whether people assume they were or not? And then they finished their initial statement by saying, do the people who accuse them of queer baiting even understand the term queer baiting or the LGBTQ community as a whole? Because I feel like if you understood the use of the term queer baiting, you would know that we've said this time and time again.
We've said this so many times.
Real people cannot queer bait.
Yeah.
Queer baiting is specifically a term that is used for fictional media that kind of teases people with the idea of a queer relationship.
When McDonald's comes out with the rainbow burger, that's queer baiting.
Yeah, or like
that's such a random example. I did not know where you were going with this.
Especially McDonald's. The one that always comes to mind for me, which is a fandom that I was involved in, was Styles and Derek in Teen Wolf. I don't know if either of you ever watched that show, but
I've heard about
it's basically like where a show, a lot of the times they play into like a queer ghost ship that a fandom has, or like tease an idea of a queer ship happening only to never deliver it on the end because they want to bring in that audience. That's what queer baiting is. A real queer person being in a relationship with someone who you presume is a woman. We don't know that they're a woman. You presume that they're dating a woman. That cannot be queer baiting.
No.
So like
also bisexual people exist.
Yes. Yeah. Whether his partner is a woman or not, they might be bisexual, making them queer too. Like, it's just based on all of these assumptions of people who don't understand queerness, don't understand the terms they're using, and obviously don't understand the LGBTQ community, because they would understand that Copter is also part of that community.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, last night, Copter had to make another statement following up on this, which I saw this before I went to bed, and I was like, I didn't realize that people were still saying shit about them. But they posted another thing on Twitter last night, accompanied by another screenshot of someone accusing them, basically faking being non-binary to co-opt the queer community. And I have to presume this is because Copter still presents in a masculine way. So it goes back to people having weird assumptions about what it means to be non-binary and who can claim that identity. And then the tweet was, or the comment was also mentioning a bunch of other actors that this person assumed are trying to profit off of the community. Zia Nanu caught strays, Dawu and Offroad caught strays, Bright and Win caught strays, and Neo as well. So Copter posted this response to this, and they were like, they felt like they'd done enough to explain themselves, even if they shouldn't have had to in the first place. And they really feel like people need to take some time to actually search and find info before they make accusations about people. And then they were also specifically like, the other people you mentioned in the comments like did not deserve to be mentioned here, and like the projects they've been in they've done good work and have done nothing to like harm the community. They were like, you really need to stop mentioning other people in my comments if you're gonna comment on my shit at all. So yeah, that was last night, and that's the last thing I've seen from them about this. But it just is so, I don't know. It's just so frustrating to see these arguments happen time and time again about people, the assumption that everyone who's in BL is straight, that all of these actors in BL are straight or trying to profit off of the queer community. And then when we do have someone who has come out and said they are non-binary and is part of the queer community, you tell them that can't be true because of the assumptions you have about what a non-binary person needs to present as or how they need to act to be considered non-binary. So it just like, it pisses me off so bad.
I don't even know what to add to that. That last part really pisses me off. Like, people just, I guess, they either don't get it. I think there's a group of people who just like don't, from my personal experience, just like don't understand what it means to be non-binary. Like, they think it's just kind of like a pronoun thing or something, but like it goes a lot deeper than that.
Yeah.
And then I think there's also the people who don't think that being non-binary is like a valid queer identity.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those people are the ones that are attacking Copter, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people who don't understand queerness at all. And I watched a TikTok about like some interview was going out like, are you gay or are you queer? And everyone was just like, we're queer. And oh, where are the gay people? I'm just, what? They're queer. What are you saying? Gay is part of being queer. What?
I don't know.
And they were like, oh, where are all the lesbians at? I'm just like, you're talking to them. They're just identifying as queer because a lot of lesbians don't feel comfortable using lesbian because of stuff.
I mean, I think there are a lot of people in the community who have had trouble with the reclamation of the word queer.
Of the word queer, yeah.
Because it's previously been used in a derogatory manner towards queer people. So I think there are people who backlash against using queer as an umbrella term as opposed to saying like what your actual identity is.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, like their queerness goes beyond just their sexuality. There is also elements of gender involved and different types of things. So using the word queer encompasses that more than saying like I'm a non-binary, polyamorous. asexual, you know, like it's
You
easier
don't
just to
have
say
to
like I'm
box yourself
queer.
in too much. And I think a
Right.
lot of
Mhm.
especially younger generations, have an issue with creating this box around them. And
Yeah.
most of these people getting interviewed were younger. And I think like it's usually like the older generation. I was reading the comments, and a lot of like people were like, "Oh, what are these young people like saying? Do they even know like they're not part of this community?" Like, it's just a what.
There's also a
But
subsection of the queer community that is very transphobic, and that
yeah,
includes them being against
Right.
like the non-binary identity.
Right.
So I'm not sure if that's part of where these comments were coming from. But then when you have someone who has come out, has taken the step to come out, been comfortable enough to come out with their identity and let people know that they are non-binary, then you decide to tell them that they aren't. And you decide to make the assumption that with no real reasoning that they are just using that term to co-opt and profit off of the community. So it's just like, I don't know. It's just really frustrating because at the end of the day, it's like, what do you want? Like, you want more queer people in the BL industry, but then when someone comes out as queer and they're not presenting in the way you assume that they should, or dating the people that you assume that they should, then you don't want to claim them as being part of the LGBTQ community.
Right. Ironically, it's very oppressive.
right.
Yeah, like that's putting people into boxes. Like you said, like queer people who date women, if you know, like a queer man who dates a woman, if they're bisexual or pansexual or however they identify,
Yeah.
they're still queer. A non-binary person dating what we presume to be a woman, they could still be bisexual, but either if they weren't, even if they weren't, they're non-binary, so they're still queer. Like I just think I don't know. It's just really frustrating to see like people's identities be called into question for
Yeah.
no reason other than the fact that you're assuming who they're dating and it's not the type of person that you envision them with as an outsider who has nothing to do with their relationships.
I'm just over us putting people in boxes, honestly, because it's honestly none of our business how other people want to be perceived. And I think like we need to take people at their word, because all of these like wars to like uh, stand up for the little man, it's kind of ruining it for the people you're supposed to be protecting.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like you shouldn't have there's no like why should you have to prove you're part of the community?
Yeah.
Like
And
and
how?
what is the yeah, exactly. What is the benchmark you use to prove that you're part
It's
of the
just like
community?
the freaking bathroom discussions. I'm just like,
Yeah.
how are you supposed to prove that you're a man or a woman? Do you have to like strip down there for people to like, what even?
Yeah.
We just, yeah.
I feel like at the end of the day, those people want Copter to be like in a real life BL pairing. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? Like that's what they want them to be.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
obviously
Because
not.
they see that as the only proof that they're actually queer, which is weird. And it's the same way, like, you know, there are other actors in the BL industry who, you know, have, in lesser words, said that they're queer. You know, maybe they haven't come out and explicitly said it, but there are plenty of actors in the community who are known to be
Are
queer,
openly out.
but people question it because they're not openly dating another man or things like that. So it's just like, why? What right do you have to question that for
Yeah.
someone else? And it does come back to like you want them to be like, they want the BL relationship to be real. They want to see them dating another man so they can feed it into the BLization of it all. And it's like that's not
Yes.
how it works in real life. So, you
No.
know, like
And
Copter said, maybe go do
also,
some research before you come into their comments spewing shit about what is queer and what isn't.
what happens to these shippings or pairs that are actually dating, and when they break up? What happens? Do tell.
Yeah. We want to transition into
Uh-huh.
another topic that has been in the BL sphere
I
lately.
was so mad. Yeah.
My thing is, it's at the end of the day, like, that's what's hard about creating a brand based on a relationship, is that when that
Mhm.
relationship ends, people feel like they are entitled to know what happened. But like,
Mhm.
that relationship was their relationship. I'm not gonna, like, whatever happened between them,
Yeah.
we're never gonna know, and it's not our
No.
business to know. And
Nope.
to be so vile to someone who has come out and stated that, like, if both a New Year say they are still on good terms, who are we to disagree with that and to
Yeah.
tell New Year that he cheated and
Yeah.
to go through all of these receipts and find his new boyfriend and harass his new boyfriend?
Yeah.
Like, it is just an insane invasion of privacy.
For those who don't know, both and New Year, who were dating and were supposed to get married,
Hmm.
um, their relationship fell apart. And was it New Year who got a supposed new boyfriend?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So again, Valentine's Day is pulling shit out of the rafters
Yeah.
because I guess there were some soft launching tweets from New Year's Instagram on Valentine's Day that looked like he was on
Mhm.
a date with someone.
Mhm.
People found that person and found like their matching like pictures that they posted on Valentine's Day. And
Yeah.
then like New Year had to come out and make a statement that, like, hey, me and both have been broken up for a couple months at that point.
Yeah.
He did not confirm or deny whether he was dating the person, and like, I don't
Mhm.
really think it matters if he was. They
Yeah.
could have just
It
been on a
doesn't
fucking
matter. It
date.
doesn't matter.
But
Yeah.
yeah, then people started basically going through the entire timeline of their relationship to try and prove that New Year cheated on both with this
Yeah.
person. And New Year's comments have been some of the most vile that I've seen. Like, I think he had to shut off his comments on Instagram for a while. They're back on now, but like, he's made
Dude,
multiple statements asking people to just like leave him alone. Like, it's been
they were
crazy.
leaving comments on our interview with both a New Year.
Oh,
I
I didn't
deleted
see any of
them. Yeah,
those.
no, I deleted them. I'm just
I
like,
didn't see that.
none of this in my house, thank you. So I just,
Oh
like,
gosh.
bye bye. I'm not listening
Wow.
to that shit. Yeah, it's none of our business. Like,
Yeah.
people get together and they fall apart, and I bet you half of the people who are like calling out that he cheated aren't even fans. Like, they haven't been
Mm-mm.
following. They just like heard
It's a
online that, oh,
scandalous
he
news
might have
topic.
cheated.
I saw some tweet that was like, I have no idea who both the New Year are, but like, I've been like reading up on this whole situation and making
Yeah,
assumptions based on what they've read online, and like all these random
Crazy.
like pop base tweeted about it. Like, what the
yeah,
fuck are you
yeah.
doing here, pop
I
base?
saw that. I'm just like, what
It's
even
just,
is this?
yeah, it's really
God.
hard. And this has happened in the past when um people who like LGBT people who make a brand, specific, it happens with heterosexual couples too, but I
Yeah.
think when it comes to queer people, like, their queer fans have an attachment to seeing that relationship
Mm.
like being shared with each other with them. And so I've seen it with a lot of like the Korean queer couples who have like online brands together. When they've broken up, like, it's gotten like a lot, like, people just get so weird about trying to decipher what
Yeah.
happened and why they broke up. And
Yeah.
sometimes relationships just don't work. It doesn't matter if you've been together for 12 years. Like, sometimes relationships just don't work. Sometimes
Yeah.
people's feelings change. Maybe the things you're assuming did happen, but at the end of the day, like, it's not our place
Yeah.
to try and
And
decipher what went down there.
I mean, we got to sit in a room and talk to both and New Year for an hour, basically, back when we were in Thailand. And they are the sweetest people. Like, we had so much fun talking to them. And I can't imagine putting my assumptions on their breakup,
Hmm.
because stuff happens.
Hmm.
I'm just like, I've had breakups before. We've all had breakups. Like, it's
Yeah.
not like, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's someone's fault. Sometimes it's just
What
you.
happens? Relationships
Yeah,
change.
you grow
People grow
apart.
apart. People change. People have different
You want
goals in
different
life.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think this
It's a lot
situation.
healthier to break up than to stay together when you're at that
Mhm.
point.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Some of us have firsthand experience with seeing people in their life who stayed together when they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
My parents.
Oops.
Oops.
Yep.
Um, but no, I think this situation, just with everything we've discussed today, comes back to a lack of empathy from people.
Yeah.
And it's just
Yes.
really frustrating to see how like mean people are being online. And I mean, I hope not in real life too. Like, I hope you wouldn't say the things you're saying online to people in real life. But I just feel like when people are online and in these bubbles where everyone's encouraging them to be so mean and so cruel, like it just spirals. And like I said, like
Mhm.
you forget that the person you're talking about is also a real person who is
Yeah.
reading and processing and having feelings about the things you're
Mhm.
saying. And it
Yeah.
just sucks to see people continually, like so many instances of people going through that in the recent
Yeah.
weeks.
And like there's always going to be those people who try and rage bait or like say stupid bullying shit online. I think what we can do to sort of make it harder for them is just not engage. And I know we've said this before. You should just not engage with childish bullying people.
Mm-hmm.
And like it doesn't help um trying to reason with them because they're just doing it for clout. So whatever you say, it's just like engagement for them. So it's not worth trying. Like we should just ignore them. Like that's the if you ignore it, if they don't get clout for it, then they won't do it.
Yeah. Or you can start a
But it's
podcast where
real.
you sit down and rant about it for an hour and get
Yes,
your feelings out
but
that way.
But but I will say, like, we haven't said any names or pointed anyone
No,
towards like
like it's
a
not about,
person.
yeah, like it's a way to like find another, if you have feelings about something,
Mhm,
find another way to express it
mhm,
rather than being a mean person online or arguing with
mhm,
people online. Like there are other, I don't know, write about it in your diary or something. Like
mhm,
don't go tweet to someone on twitter.com why you don't think they should be doing these things or why you need to fight about them with these things. Like,
mhm.
I don't know.
And, like, individually targeting and often tagging the person
Hmm.
that you're talking shit about. Like, what?
Yeah.
I'm so confused why people do what they do. I think like we need like a psychiatrist or something to come on here and tell us why this happens because I'm so confused.
Break
I don't
down
know.
the brain of an online hater.
Mhm.
I'm gonna start running
I
up
need
on
the stuff.
people in real life or something.
Mhm.
Kayla is in your walls. Yeah. I don't know. I really tried to find like some happy BL fandom happenings to
Mm. To
offset everything that we've just discussed, but
uh-huh.
it was really hard for me to find one. So if you've had any
Yeah.
good news that you want to share that has happened in the BL fandom
Mm.
or the BL drama recently,
Please let us know so that we can like don't have to sit here and be mad and give us something to smile about.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely share your thoughts about all of the things we discussed down below. And if you have
Mhm.
any positive news to offset it, we would love to read that as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's all for this episode of Catching Up with the BL Fandom. Um, like I said, share your thoughts on everything down below. Please be nice. If you gathered
Mhm.
from anything that we've discussed today, don't be a mean person in the comments because
Mhm.
we won't tolerate that here and we never
Yeah.
have. So please be nice when you're discussing whatever you want to discuss and be
Mhm.
kind and be rational
Mhm.
and create a nice conversation. But yeah, share your thoughts down below. Let us know what you thought about everything we discussed, our feelings about things. And if you like the video, if you like the discussion, be sure to like and subscribe. share with your friends as well so we can get some more expanded input on everything. And you can also consider checking out our Patreon, where we have extra discussions about things like this and BL happenings once a month through our Patreon exclusive episodes. We also have early access to episodes, early access to interview guests. You get to vote on our reviews that we do each month. So there's lots of fun LoveCast happenings over there, and it's a great way to support the show if you're interested in that as well. But that is all for this episode. So we will see you guys again in the next one.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So one little straggly hair is laying down, and it's really fucking
Yeah, I've learned to just ignore my. You see that? Whoop. I don't even know what's going on there. I'm just ignoring it.